Research and study fair dealing exception to copyright infringement, and the quest for a superhero. Hello, my name is Diana Prince, and this is my friend Lois. We have a research paper due on the topic of deconstructing the postmodern superhero. The problem is, we don't have a clue what a postmodern superhero is or how we would go about deconstructing one. It sounds painful. I know, Lois said. Let's start with Cinderella. She's a superhero. Cinderella, I challenged. But isn't she a passive victim who graciously submitted to years of abuse? You may have a point, Lois said. What about Thranduil, the Elven King, I offered. Get your mind out of the gutter, Diana. Sure, Thranduil looks good in a skirt, but it takes more than pointy oracles to be a superhero. We agreed we needed help to figure out what a superhero was and how to deconstruct it all. Off to the library we went. To our amazement, we found heaps of books and all kinds of superheroes. Let's start copying right away, Lois said. I have loads of money on my photocopier account. Not so fast, said Mr. Librarian. Did you know that a copyright owner has exclusive rights over the expression of ideas in material form? This work in material form includes original literary work, like the books you were holding, Diana, and also dramatic, musical, and artistic work with a connection with Australia. This means the owner may exclude you and others from the right to reproduce or copy the work, the right to publish the work, and the right to communicate the work to the public, usually online. If you and Lois exercise one of these rights without a copyright owner's permission, it is a direct infringement, unless you're acting under a legal exception. Bummer, I said. We can't copy, but we don't have time to seek permission and we only have 2 days. Well, said Mr. Librarian, are you engaged in the study for a private purpose, he asked. Commonwealth Copyright Act 1968 allows people to use copyright materials without the copyright owner's permission in certain circumstances. There are several of these, but for our purposes, we will look at the fair dealing exceptions. These are research or study, criticism or review, parody or satire, reporting of the news, or the giving of professional legal advice. Research or study is not defined in the Act, but Judge Beaumont, in the DeGarris and Neville Jeffries Piddle case, used an ordinary dictionary meaning to define it as investigation in the field of knowledge for a private purpose. Therefore, for-profit businesses and even educational institutions like QUT do not qualify for the exception. Great, so because Lois and I are doing research for private purposes, we must be good to go then, said Diana. Yes, said Lois, let's copy this whole book, it's only small, and also let's copy these 4 articles out of the journal. Not quite, said Mr. Librarian. We have established that you and Diana are genuinely researching for private purposes, but whether your use is fair will depend on the circumstances. The court will take into account 5 statutory factors to determine the fair dealing. These can be found in Section 40, subsection 2 of the Act. Likewise, Section 103, capital C, deals with fair dealing with audiovisual items. The factors are purpose and character of dealing, nature of the work or adaptation, possibility of obtaining the work or adaptation within a reasonable time at an ordinary commercial price, the effect upon the market for or value of the work, and the amount copied in relation to the whole. The Act sets out some guidelines for reasonable portions that you may copy for your research or study. For example, Lois, you cannot copy all 4 of the articles you mentioned, as one article within the periodical is considered fair, but no more. There is a presumption that reproducing 10% or less in a literary, dramatic, or musical work will be fair. Anything over 10% is not necessarily prohibited, but it must be fair in the circumstances. If a literary, dramatic, or musical work or adaptation is at least 10 pages, and the work is divided into chapters, it is fair to copy a single chapter. And remember, this use must always be for the purposes of research or study. Lois and I digested this wealth of information as the librarian banded away. We had learned more than we bargained for. We had the research and study fair use exception to copyright infringement thoroughly explained to us, and yes, we had also found our superhero.